I really want Galadriel Weather to be able to... here we go. So we'll discard Lembas Bread to heal a wound from the Imladris Caregiver. Then we will play the Galadriel Weaver and shuffle that back in. Alright then. So, Henmath, what's occurring? The Broken Lands. While it's in the staging area, progress cannot be placed on locations in the staging area. Okay, it's only 2 threat. So, if we quest with 5, that's all we need. So, Arwen goes, Arrestor goes, and there's no reason for Mablung not to go with Wingfoot. He names location, it's location. Cool. So we finish Mithradris, and that puts a progress, not a progress, token on there. We do search 3. Light of Valinor. Murgash. The big bad we've been waiting for. And Silver Harp. So, doesn't really matter which one of these goes into my hand, because it's just going to get discarded anyway, because they're both attachments. So I'll put Silver Harp in hand. Alright then, so let's go to the Broken Lands. Oh, and if Murgash is in play, after questing successfully. Right, so we don't put an additional time counter on the stage. Murgash is in play, so we go to stage 3. The Wizard's Prize. You've found Murgash. But the Orc captain won't be taken without a fight. He howls and rages against you with the ferocity of a cornered animal. All the commotion is sure to draw more orcs into the fray, yet you must subdue the huge Uruk before you can retreat down the mountain. Time 3, Force. After the last time encounter is removed from this stage, return Murgash to the staging area and reveal X encounter cards. X is the number of players in game -1. Place. Right, so I won't reveal any cards because I'm playing solo, but he will escape capture. Progress cannot be placed on this stage unless Murgash is attached to a hero. If the players defeat this stage, they win the game. Right, okie dokie. So, even though the Broken Lands is an absolute nightmare, we've kind of got to go there. Because we can't put progress on there anyway unless Murgash is captured, which we might end up doing this turn. So, Murgash attacks, engages, which gives Mablung a resource. Now, no pressure, Mablung, but we have specifically engineered you to do exactly this. So then, defending. Now, he's got 4 defense. We can bump him up to 6 with Protector of Lorien, and we've got 2 honor guards. So, whatever Murgash throws, famous last words, will be fine. However, Murgash has got 12 wounds left. He'll have 11 once the Spear of the Citadel wounds him. So that's 2 attack from Mablung, 2 attack from Arrestor, 2 attack from the Wandering Ents. I'll be able to discard a Sylvan Refugee to bump up defense or attack. So that would mean we've got 6 more coming from the Mithlond Sea Watchers, which is 12. So we've got more than enough attack. So maybe we shouldn't risk Mablung at all. And instead, we should throw something under the bus. Now, what that thing should be is a good question. I'm actually thinking the Imladris Caregiver might be the one to throw to the wolves here. So, before we kill him, we're going to discard a card to heal Arwen. And we're going to discard a card to heal Arrestor. So that's his 2 uses done. Murgash will attack the Imladris Caregiver. Defending player discards an attachment he controls. Okay, so Imladris Caregiver is dead. An attachment I'm going to discard is... I'm going to discard the Elven Spear off a restore, because we never use the blinking thing. Oh no! Oh no, you resolve that first. So the Elven Spear gets discarded first, which means then the Imradris Caregiver dies, which means we have all of our attack. So that's 2, 4, 6, plus 6 there is 12, plus 3 from Glorfindel is 15, which is enough to defeat Mugash. The first player attaches him to a hero he controls and exhausts that hero. Attached hero cannot ready. So Arwen is going to carry Murgash. So that's 1 time token off the quest. Threat up by 1. And 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. And resources. 2, 3. Okie dokie. So we need questing. So let's get the Welling Hall Preserver played from a restore. We need Treebeard because Treebeard. So that's 4 resources. Mablung will pay for that. And then let's play the Gladron Weaver from Arwen to shuffle the Imradris Caregiver back into the deck. Right then, Henmath. What's occurring, buddy? What's coming up? Prowling Wolf. While engaged with you, Prowling Wolf gets +1 attack for each location in the staging area. That's fine with me. So he's 3 threat. My goodness, we could have a big old questy turn here. So, questing. Mablung is going to quest. Exhausting Wingfoot, naming enemy. So he's ready. Arrestor's going to quest. The Wandering Ent is going to quest. Both the Mythlond Archers, Sea Watchers are going to quest. The Gladron Weavers are going to quest. Glorfindel's going to quest. Okay. Reveal Prowling Wolf. So that's 3, which is basically Glorfindel. So everything else is gravy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 progress. And I do not need any help in killing this. So I'm going to discard a card to add another progress. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 progress. So that's 6 onto the Broken Lands and 5 onto the Wizard's Prize. We will engage the Prowling Wolf, which gives Mablung a resource. The Prowling Wolf will attack Mablung. No shadow text. Mablung takes no damage and deals a wound to the Prowling Wolf. Mablung readies with Unexpected Courage. So that is 2 from Mablung, 2 from Arrestor, and the Rivendell Blade slices the Prowling Wolf to pieces. End of the round, a time counter goes. Threat climbs, everyone readies, except Arwen. Now, in theory, of course, if we don't finish the quest this round, the time counter will be removed and Mugash will be free once more. But we have a lot of quest here, so we should be fine. 3 resources. 1, 2, 3. And a resource onto Treebeard. And 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. And let's exhaust Henmath to have a look what's coming. It's Mithradris, which is only 2 threat. So all we need to do is minus the 2. We need 10 more progress after that. We've easily got 10 progress. Let's minus Mablung's 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 11. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. So we don't even need to play any cards. We go questing. We reveal the card. We do the progress. And we win to catch an orc. Did I do something slightly retrospective? Yes. Do I feel terrible about it? No. Because playing this quest with 3 players almost basically broke one of those players out of playing this game. So I had a particular dislike for this quest from having played it with 3 players. So do you know what? I'm perfectly happy to do a little bit of retconning. Now, there is quite a bit of flavour text once the scenario is finished. So if you're not in it for the flavour, I don't blame you. Vanish. But if you want to hear the end of the story, or the end of this part of the story, listen on. So, in hindsight, trapping Murgash was the easy part. Transporting the orc back to Isengard was a problem unlike any the heroes have ever faced. At first, they were pursued by angry remnants of Mugash's band, often forced to halt and seek defensive ground. Yet worse than the pursuit was the journey itself. While fall storms ravaged the lowlands, early winter had come to the mountains. Gales of sleet made the path treacherous, and the wind wilfully bit into into every inch of exposed skin. Shallow ravines and steep rivulets, dry for most of the year, now gushed with ice-laden water. The nights froze, and every morning the stony slopes were coated in jagged ice. They'd pried a staff beneath Murgash's arms and bound his hands before him with thick rope. His legs had been forcefully bent and then tied together with another staff placed in the hollow of his knees. In this way, the heroes could drag the orc or carry him by both of the poles when necessary. On the first day of the return journey to Isengard, upon realizing his entrapment, Murgash had roared and yelled continually, spitting anger and snapping his fangs at his captors. His curses echoed in the mountainsides and encouraged the pursuers. After a day of listening to his screaming, the heroes had finally stuffed a piece of old surcoat into the orc's fanged mouth. Using strips of leather, they tied the cloth so tight behind his head that they heard his skull groan at the pressure. Yeah, these guys are the heroes. At first, the gag seemed only to make Murgash angrier. It took another full day of travelling before he settled down somewhat, his breathing whistling angrily from frozen nostrils, eyes glaring at his captors with unvarnished bile. I don't blame the guy. This is messed up. After 3 days, the pursuit finally stopped, but the weather turned for the worse. The winds howled along the cliffsides, and a mordant, never-ending sleet left their faces raw and blistered. There was little forage on the trail, and the heroes walked on slim rations. They dared not feed Murgash. Undoubtedly, he'd begin screaming again, and even if the pursuit had ceased, they didn't want to chance its renewal. So they're also starving him. What heroes! As the heroes drew nearer to Isengard, Murgash became ill. His eyes, which were once alive with hate, became puffy and closed in feverish sleep. His nose leaked a blue-green sludge, and his breathing was reduced to a thin whistle. His dark skin had turned ashen grey, except where his limbs were pressed around the staves. There, it had bruised into a blackish purple. Murgash no longer struggled or grunted, and his weight seemed to have deadened. That night, the heroes were troubled. They'd finally begun their descent into the lower passes, and the weather had turned milder, but their prisoner seemed likely to die before reaching Isengard. Reluctantly, they loosened Murgash's bonds to improve his circulation. They removed the gag and forced hot wine and a paste of bone meal into his foul mouth. The beast was burning with fever, so they placed him farthest from the fire, near a boulder that blocked the worst of the wind. His breathing was so slight, it could barely be perceived. That night was the coldest of the journey, but the weather was clearing. A few stars could be seen in the gaps between moving clouds, and the sleet had paused. After choosing a sentry, the heroes huddled down near the fire for the first time in their lives. And for the first time in their lives, they drifted off to sleep, hoping that an orc would not die. Hours later, as the cloud-streaked moon dropped behind the south summit, the sentry thought he heard scurrying of the wolves on the mountainside. He rose to briefly investigate, but the darkness held nothing, and he returned to the embers of the fire. As he settled, he no longer heard the orcs breathing, and so guessed the captive must have finally died. With a sigh, he rose again to investigate. How psychotic are these people? I mean, I realise that in Tolkien's world, the orcs are unpitiable monsters, but this is messed up. In the shadows of a nearby boulder, where he expected to see Murgash's corpse, he instead saw scraps of cloth and rope. The 2 staves lay nearby. Murgash must have cunningly and quietly slid them inch by inch away from his body by pressing them against the boulder. Murgash was not dead. Murgash had escaped. To be continued in Into Fangorn, the 3rd adventure in the Voice of Isengard box. Cool. Hope you've enjoyed this one. It's a neat quest, but it's so punishing with all its surge and whatever else. I mean, really taking my time with this deck paid off. It let it do what it does, which is build up a ridiculous amount of attachments, allies, and power. So 3rd quest on the way soon. Hope you enjoyed it. See you again.